In 1904, the York Fire Department Manhattan Adventurers Society, which a lot. However, when the fire extinguisher comes, the smoke is in. A man touches and his hand starts so his supporters have him away. Then the fire extinguisher the door and is to see dozens of dead bodies and everywhere, while an unknown language is from a phonograph. A mysterious shape in ancient evil form when the extinguisher to the bullet opens and all the bodies scatter. Inside a pair of with currently, Kelly, his lover Gary, and his children Phoebe and Trevor have gone to New York. Kelly, the old Ghostbusters team. So, this a family business. A terrible ghost from and in entire Manhattan. So the new team starts following her because she kills other vehicles. A special seat is removed so that Phoebe Ghost can the proton blaster. But if the driving, he misses A and shots various buildings. Once they very close, the trailer a remote-controlled trap. But this to catch yet, so a drone moves forward. Kelly drone towards and successfully catches it. The family celebrates and Gary gets, which causes him to lose, and city's rack becomes impassable. People from their phones and are the news. What they have is seen in the light. That's Mayor Peck called the team to his office so that they whatever they had, and Phobo, who is still a later, the team head comes back, which the same office where the old Ghostbusters used to of Mahapal, Kelly, and Gary, decided that Phobo should a normal life and kick him out. Out of Phobo it well, but his complaints are ignored. Then Gary and Kelly the in their own form, which tries normal, but they do know why. Thank God the light goes green, which means that the ghost is... Meanwhile, the old Ghostbusters team and podcast, Rekha, and Horoscope, they the energy so that they try to A-woman her husband. But Rekha any reading and the podcast just it with later. When phobias come, she finds out that they're marshmallow men in her room. She thinks they cute, but the podcast smashes because she tells that they are a plague. Suddenly Nadim enters and his box, all the marshmallows run hide. The family ancient items that Nadim wants to, and is retirant at the glyph on the on. But the generated by is of a blast that the device and a small earthquake. A snowy energy can through the road and the ghost container. Retirant orb buys, and as soon Nadim leaves with, he suddenly grows up without any reason by Ghostbusters. Gary about the in-calls last team's searcher, Janine, promises to a specialist too. He sees some green mud leaking and goes to the Atari. He empty packaging that looks like a box below. That's he looks closely and Slimmer, who jumps out the tray wall and runs. After some time, the team a ghost alert and they for a mission, but they to the phobia. She herself the park. But suddenly the start a ghost appears, and her shape flaming because she died. When they play, Melody believes that they very little chance, because they have incomplete business. The next day, parabiologist Lars Kshatigras comes to, and when Ikai moves, he confirms that the previous ghost brings Buster Winston Ikai, which was Kelly's Devangad Pita. He points out that Unit 40, it is out. Winston also informs them that the caused created a crack that could as it obvious that this building long time after Winston is an extraordinary research center where a team's secret laboratory. All kinds of scientists gather here of Alox. Trevor meets his friend Lucky again, who is also working whenever Ray and Alatsiak energy. He it to the laboratory and Lars it a machine that the ghost from using the basic design. They have a big container of Ikai, so they it with and the main hall. All the ghosts are Ikai. Some further research, phobia of a skull, while Gary and Kelly move back when a ghost turns there is who device to device. Later in team gets another mission and leaves without phobe again. That time, another Apatkaline call comes so Phoebe and podcast Vesco go care of they it in a restaurant and find out that the ghost has a lorry. That's Phoebe doesn't to Melody saves and Phoebe responds which breaks this middle of Lars and Lucky Ray are together. When it's orcs all the ghosts feel machine spirit is and suddenly lab a power surge. Some cells break and ghosts start moving, but at that time, Lars fixes and everything becomes. Then he catches just his hand. Lars drops Orc right before. After a Melody goes to meet Phobe and Phobe her around, and Melody almost the Ikai but stops on Melody keeps as, that's Phobe tells her that this is the thing that is this world. It found that these matches started that killed her family. The training room. Orby sends a Barfila Visfort who the unit again and the Visfort Melody who says that she is working as fast as but hesitates use Phobe next day. Trevor puts a net in and a proton blaster is ready. It junk food. He out but before Trevor can shoot it. Another earthquake occurs. The team the containment unit and finds a big hole and cold. Later, team returns and learns that the is, he it with one action. And it the large marshmallow men who are so attracted to that, they against. Apparently, the orb can control, or at some objects, more information. Lucky goes Trevor and Lars Naden, who them is grandmother's special room. There are many ancient things there, like some strange things, and a cover from Lars finds out that everything is made witch ghosts. When the three of use the Kundali there, a strong reaction, so they it to the experiment room with a machine, former Ghostbuster Peter, some strange questions. Suddenly he pen on witch angry and the law. As one theory progresses and Peter throws Nadim's anger increases, and likewise law too, which means that he has to turn in the meantime, podcast studio, and finds out that Ray to go and bike. They the New York Public Library, and a scientist who translates while he an old book. Centuries ago, a mad king named Gorka from a powerful Ica, which had a new Hemayug. Nadine's ancestors were a team known the Fire Masters, who used their Garga in the orbs and steel Singos, which them their power. If Garga is then New York will experience witch people the cold. The scientists them some mom cylinders along, including one Manhattan Adventurers Society, Osamu Havshesh, and many years ago which killed them all. Samu to recordings and gets same words from suddenly. Cylinder starts and the end a garbage bag. Which crazy, the starts it, and when Ray the cabinets he the of the book of, the follows the ghost outside and him the statue. Ray to reach for, but the lion starts because they had the bag. As people run in, Phoebe gets a proton blaster and the lion, which he is to pieces. After moment, PEK announces that he the Ghostbusters, who has his wish since PEK tries to it, but PEK says that this is either this or going in the team chief returns, and finds out that all activities have taken by while PEK. With his parents, the control room, and tells him that he the next Fire Master. That's he the world. The first training is a fire from lighter to as soon Nadine shakes his hand, law also. But she much yet. Phoebe goes to park again and Melody. The chat and get stuck. That's Phoebe accepts that she to a ghost, which gives her an idea. They to the lab and Phoebe enters. Then Melody, her soul from her body. The process works, but Melody apologizes and sad. Hear it that she Goraka, who living beings, only ghosts. Because a living person is needed, now she Phoebe, so that he can say, thee is his body. That's he repeats and starts, whereas Melody tells him he had because this his family again. Soon the air and a deep darkness is in the Garga appears, and says that he the while his power phobia ghost takes him back. At that time Lucky shows up and tries to a proton in, but before disappearing, freezes quickly and crushes. While the rest of team comes to Garga, the building, and the clerk. Then he Nadim's apartment, where he his Singo. As soon he carries him, he his real form and all power. Soon a black cloud appears and whole area, which makes it the spikes of and kill people. The old and new teams gather in the headquarters, and Nadim his training. But he can only talk. Fortunately, Lars has his van, so the team starts, while Lucky tells that the laboratory will him. Phobos remember that the yellow ghosts can and a fork was, that's their blaster. The roof, Trevor and Lucky look a bicycle on, so they think it's the ghost who from the laboratory and back inside. As the storm increases outside, that he his tent. A red light that represents with the Ghostbuster sign and going and keeping the vehicle back and everyone the goes other room because he annoys. But here the little ghosts of who Gugu is face. The light soon a paper plane. Then she Lucky's proton pack. Here up the blaster and the trailer. But Gary him away and Nadim his power to the Visford out of the podcast breaks the pack and the ghost pizza. Only the slimmer is, at that time, the headquarter. Phobia the room and Melody, who swears that she to hurt and only to her family. Ogra. Phoebe sees that no one him move he to find himself. Then Garaka comes the and more ice spikes, envelops the door. As the building starts and separate, Ghostbusters shoot all their proton blasters at but gathers Garakasi. Suddenly, Nadim Firemaster shield and tries to, but he is not doing because he used all the elements. Garga grabs and it before which creates a hole, and everyone with more ice spikes. Then Garga to leave all the ghosts from shoots a huge Visfort to all the ghosts run away and start to terrorize, but Phoebe cannot Melody now. She upwards and fires her blaster in which cannot freeze, so she instead downed Phoebe. The girl immediately freezes and Garga her soul. But that moment, Melody appears again and her L. Ask match. Now Nadine can make a fireball which she had Goraka and the room and releases Phoebe shot his blaster again and is so much power in. That's his family him catch it. When Pravlit Visvat and Nadine hits Garaka, it podcast car in the drone net. However, Marshmallow Purish is also saved from his messing with him, which he control of in Garaka too. Old Ghostbusters realize that ever since Garga has all the ghosts, the stopwatch has been off. They rush to the basement and for all the Garga into and the light is. This confirms that the guy has successfully sealed. Later, Melody Phobe gives his marches and says goodbye. The team comes out and it out that All Ice has Perk them again. But all the are their support and Perk has no other option. Which can Ghostbusters to work for Garga are the That's the team cleaning up and back into they leave, Phobos calls Gary's for. After some time, when a truck driver at a gas station, the Marshmallow Men him a chance to note and start the "so that you more videos. Thanks.